In the early hours of a cold April night, the largest moving object ever built by man was slicing through the dark water. The RMS Titanic was more than a ship. It was a statement. It was a symbol of what humans could achieve. It was designed by the best minds of the age. Its engineers used the most advanced knowledge of their time. They said the ship was unsinkable. This was not just a marketing slogan. It was a belief held by its creators. The ship's 16 watertight compartments were a marvel of engineering. Even if 4 of them flooded, the ship would stay afloat. It was a mathematical certainty. The people who built it were not fools. They were experts, and they had done the math. So when warnings of icebergs came in over the telegraph, they were noted, but they did not cause alarm. The captain was a veteran of the seas with a perfect record. The ship's designer was on board, proud of his creation. Confidence was high. The system was designed to handle problems. They trusted their system. They trusted their own brilliance. We all know what happened next. The iceberg did not just damage 1 or 2 compartments. It opened a long, thin gash along the side of the ship, flooding 6 of them. The math that made the ship unsinkable suddenly proved it would sink. The impossible became inevitable. In just over 2 hours, the unsinkable ship disappeared beneath the waves, taking 1,500 people with it. The disaster was not caused by a single mistake. It was caused by a mindset. It was caused by a deep confidence that was so strong it made people blind. The experts were sure they were right. Their certainty became a wall that reality could not get through until it was too late. This leads to a difficult question. How can people who are so intelligent, so skilled, and so right about so many things end up being so terribly wrong? We call this the expert trap. It is a strange and dangerous flaw in our thinking. It is not about a lack of knowledge. It is about what happens when knowledge becomes rigid. It is a problem that affects the most skilled and intelligent people among us. The very thing that makes them an expert, their deep experience in one area, can become a cage. This is not the Dunning-Kruger effect. That is a different idea you may have heard of. The Dunning-Kruger effect describes when a person with very low skill in an area does not know enough to even recognize their own lack of skill. They are ignorant of their own ignorance. It is a problem of the beginner. The expert trap is the opposite. It is a problem of the master. It is a trap that you have to earn the right to fall into. Imagine a grandmaster chess player. They have studied thousands of games. They recognize patterns instantly. Their mind moves with speed and precision, using shortcuts learned over a lifetime of success. In a normal game, they are almost unbeatable. But imagine an amateur player sits down across from them. The amateur does not know the proper openings or the classic strategies. They make a move that is clumsy, illogical, a bad move. The grandmaster might dismiss it. It does not fit any of the patterns they have mastered. They see it as a simple error. They continue to play their elegant professional game. But the amateur's strange move has changed the board in a way the grandmaster's mental shortcuts cannot see. The amateur, through pure chance or strangeness, has created a new kind of problem. The grandmaster, blinded by their own expertise, walks right into a trap they never saw coming. Their mastery of the known game made them unable to deal with the unknown. This is the expert trap. It is when your past success creates a set of rules in your mind that you forget are just rules, not reality itself. You become so good at your game that you cannot imagine a different one being played. It is not an attack on experts or a celebration of being ignorant. We need experts. Their knowledge builds our world. This is a warning. It is a look at a hidden bug in the way we think. A bug that grows stronger with success and intelligence. It's a quiet recognition that being smart can, in some situations, make you blind. The first part of the trap is a condition we can call earned dogmatism. The word dogmatism means believing something is true without being able to question it. The key word here is earned. This is not a belief someone is born with. It is a belief that is built piece by piece with every success. When you are right over and over again, your brain learns something. It learns that your way of seeing the world works. Each correct decision, each successful project, each accurate prediction is a small reward. Your brain, to be more efficient, starts to build mental shortcuts based on these successes. These shortcuts are incredibly useful. They allow an expert to solve complex problems quickly, almost automatically. A seasoned doctor can diagnose an illness from a few symptoms. A skilled mechanic can hear the problem in an engine. This is the power of expertise. But a problem develops slowly. After being right 100 times or 1,000 times, you stop checking your own work as carefully. You start to trust the shortcut more than the raw information in front of you. You begin to assume you are right, not because of the evidence, but because you are you. You have earned the right to be right. This is where dogmatism sets in. The story of the Kodak company is a perfect example of this. For most of the 20th century, Kodak was the king of photography. They made the best film. They built the best cameras. Their knowledge of chemistry and manufacturing was second to none. They were the experts. Their success was enormous and long-lasting. They had every reason to believe they knew what they were doing. In 1975, a young engineer at Kodak named Steven Sasson invented something new. It was a boxy device that used a digital sensor to capture an image. It was the world's first digital camera. He brought it to the leaders of the company. He showed them his strange, filmless camera. They looked at it. They understood the technology. They were, after all, experts in imaging. But they did not see it as the future. They saw it as a threat to their present. Their entire business was built on selling film. The digital camera used no film, so they dismissed it. Their conclusion, based on decades of success, was that no one would ever want to look at a picture on a television screen. They believed people wanted physical prints, the kind their film made. Their successful past had created a rule in their minds. Photography is film. This rule, this earned dogmatism, became a blinder. For years, they held the patent to the technology that would eventually destroy their business. Other companies without a successful film business to protect, developed digital cameras. By the time Kodak realized the world had changed, it was too late. In 2012, the company that had defined photography for a century filed for bankruptcy. Their expertise did not save them. It was the very thing that trapped them. They had been right for so long they could not imagine being wrong. The second part of the trap is more subtle. It is the way intelligent people can use their own minds to protect themselves from reality. They can build beautiful, complicated arguments for very bad ideas. The intelligence that is supposed to find the truth is instead used to build a fortress of logic around a mistake. We can call this idea complexity as a shield. An intelligent mind is good at finding patterns and building logical chains. When faced with a decision, it can assemble facts, data, and theories into a powerful case. This is a great strength. But if the person secretly wants a certain outcome or is afraid of a certain truth, that same mental power can be turned to a different purpose. It can be used for justification, not exploration. The goal is no longer to find the right answer, but to prove that your answer is right. Because a smart person has access to more information and can handle more complex ideas, their justifications can be very impressive. They can build models, create charts, and write papers filled with dense language and data. The argument they create looks like a product of pure reason. It is so elaborate and seems so logical that it can fool other people. Even more, it can fool the person who built it. The complexity of the argument acts as a shield. It deflects simple, uncomfortable questions. It makes doubt seem unsophisticated. During the Vietnam War, Robert McNamara was the United States Secretary of Defense. He was known for his brilliance. He was a numbers man, a master of statistics and systems analysis. He wanted to apply this logical approach to the war. He and his team of whiz kids gathered huge amounts of data. They created metrics to measure success: body counts, villages pacified, missions flown. They built a complex, data-driven model of the war. According to the numbers, they were winning. The charts showed progress. The reports sent to the president were filled with this data, painting a picture of a war that was being managed effectively and was on a path to victory. The logic was clean and powerful, but it was detached from the human reality on the ground. The simple, messy truth was that the war was not being won. Soldiers and junior officers saw the reality, but their simple observations could not get through the complex shield of data. How could a captain's gut feeling compete with a detailed statistical analysis? Questioning the strategy was seen as questioning the logic itself, and the logic seemed flawless. McNamara himself was trapped inside his own creation. His intelligence had built a system of justification so powerful that it kept reality out. He later admitted that he had been wrong terribly. The problem was not that he was unintelligent. The The problem was that he used his intelligence to build a shield of complexity that prevented him from seeing a simple, terrible truth. The more data they gathered, the less they knew. The expert trap is not a solo act. It is a performance that requires an audience. The trap is set and sprung not just by the expert, but by the people around them. We are part of the system that creates it because we have a deep psychological need for certainty. The world is a confusing place. Every day we are faced with a flood of information and decisions we are not equipped to make. Should you take this medicine? Should you invest in that stock? Which car is safer? To find the true answer to each of these questions would require a huge amount of work. It would mean reading scientific papers, financial reports, and engineering studies. Most of us do not have the time or the skill for that. So, our brains take a shortcut. Instead of evaluating the information ourselves, we evaluate the person giving it. We look for signals of authority, a college degree, a title, a uniform, a confident tone of voice. When we find an expert who seems sure of themselves, it is a great relief. Our brain can offload the hard work of thinking. We can simply trust their conclusion. This is not laziness. It is an efficient mental process for surviving a complex world. But this creates a hidden demand in our society. We reward people for showing confidence. We are drawn to the leader who has a clear plan, the doctor who gives a firm diagnosis, the financial advisor who promises sure returns. We are often uncomfortable with the expert who says, "I'm not sure," or "it's complicated." We might see their doubt as a sign of weakness or incompetence. We want the answer, not the process. This puts a quiet pressure on experts. They learn, consciously or not, that confidence is rewarded. They are encouraged to present their conclusions cleanly, without all the messy doubts and possibilities that might be part of their actual thinking. Over time, this can change how they think. They can start to believe in the confident persona they project. We become the audience that applauds the Grandmaster's elegant move, and we ignore the clumsy amateur. We help create the conditions for the trap. We ask experts to be our shield against uncertainty. We ask them to take on the burden of being right so we do not have to do the work ourselves. When they fall into the trap of their own certainty, it is partly because we asked them to go there. We wanted a hero who had all the answers. We did not want a humble person who was still asking questions. This social engine is a powerful force that helps lock the expert into their narrow point of view. If expertise can be a trap, how does one avoid it? The answer is not to abandon knowledge, it is to add wisdom. Wisdom is knowing the limits of your own knowledge. It is a form of intellectual humility. There are methods or mental tools that can help build this humility. They are like escape routes from the prison of your own mind. The first tool is called the beginner's mind. This is the practice of looking at a problem as if you have never seen it before. A beginner does not have any mental shortcuts. They do not know the right way to do things. Because of this, they ask very simple and often very powerful questions. They ask why? A lot. An expert often stops asking why. They already know why. The beginner's mind is a conscious effort to forget what you know just for a moment, to see what else might be true. It is choosing to be the clumsy amateur in your own mind, to see if your inner grandmaster has missed something. The second tool is to actively seek disagreement. Most people surround themselves with people who agree with them. It feels good. It confirms our beliefs. To escape the expert trap, you must do the opposite. You must find smart people who hold a different view, and you must listen to them. This is not about having an argument to win. It is about understanding the other side so well that you could argue their case for them. This practice forces you to see the holes in your own thinking. It acts like a stress test for your ideas. If your belief can survive a serious encounter with an intelligent opponent, it becomes stronger. If it cannot, you have learned something important. The third tool is first principles thinking. This is the process of breaking a problem down into its most basic, fundamental truths. Instead of starting with the common way of doing things, you start from scratch. Take a simple object, like a cup. We think of it as a ceramic thing with a handle. But what is it in first principles? It is a container that can hold a liquid. It needs to be waterproof. It needs to be shaped so you can drink from it without spilling. When you break it down this way, you are free to imagine a cup in a new way. Maybe it doesn't need to be ceramic. Maybe it can be made of folded paper or metal. This method helps you escape the trap of how it has always been done. It forces you back to the core of the problem, where new solutions can be found. These are not easy habits. They require a person to fight against their own comfort and certainty. They demand that you value being correct more than you value feeling right. They are the tools for staying curious, and curiosity is the only real antidote to the trap of expertise. Intelligence is not the same as wisdom. Intelligence is a tool for building things. Arguments, theories, machines, and empires. It is a sharp instrument that can analyze the world, but it has no built-in direction. It does not know when to stop. Wisdom is a different faculty. It is the quiet understanding of the tool's limits. It is the recognition that the map is not the territory, that the numbers on a page are not the human reality they represent. Wisdom is the voice that whispers, "You might be wrong." The expert trap is not a failure of intelligence. It is a failure of that whisper being ignored. It is what happens when the brilliant tool is mistaken for the whole truth. The greatest minds can build the most elaborate cages for themselves, and the key to the lock is a simple, humble thought. I do not know everything.